everyone, this is Jamie Starr for the New World News Network. On this episode, we're going to get into this little video put out by Thrasher of The Guardian, going on about how great the extinction and end of white people will be. To start, as you can see, Trump has to be the next American president. History dictates it. And there is a saying, those that don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. But it's only those that don't learn from the past. You can, change things. And I just think what an awful framework these social justice people, they see the world as this dark place where no one does anything on their own accord. Free will doesn't exist. It's social justice at this point is a full-on pseudo-religion where you have the original sin of being born with privilege and everything like that. Paying for the mistakes of your ancestors and people who remotely look like you, your personal journey or personal background or any personal decisions. None of that's irrelevant. All that matters is what race you are, what color you are, what religion you are, who you fuck, what gender you think you are. That's all that matters. Every aspect of your personality, not your decisions, not your choices, none of that's on the table. And he immediately goes into, I'll just play the video and I'll try. Let's see how short we can make this with it only being a 2-minute video.
Trump has to be the next president. American history dictates it. If you understand American history, then you'll understand why I think Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
See what he just did? And I'm already bothered. This is why this works. You have this thing where they show that most of your social justice warriors have college degrees, they're liberal Democrats, and it's because of this. It's because they've been raised in the school system, then they go to college, then they leave the school system, and then they get all of their info from the news. And the one thing that it is it's the same delivery of this one person just calmly talking to you, and these sort of underhanded, patronizing ego strokes where, as you can see, you already framed it as, well, if you're smart, you'll agree with me. If you understand history, then you'll understand that I have to be right. So it's already set up in this kind of appeal to intellect type way. So let's see, if we understand history, then this guy's gotta be right.
Every bold advancement of freedom in America is always met with an equally bold racist backlash.
Every advancement in freedom in America is always met with racist backlash. So the implications already here is that the American people, a lot of white people are included in that, elected Obama as president. And that was an advancement for freedom. Now, anyone who's aware of Obama's policies and what's going on under his administration would know this has been setbacks for freedom. Major setbacks for freedoms. Setbacks for personal freedoms as far as, your relationship with the government, your healthcare provider, everything like that. Setbacks for freedoms in journalism. Setbacks for freedoms in business as far as who you can choose and choose not to do business with. There's been nothing but setbacks in freedoms under Obama. There's been no advancements in personal liberties or freedoms or anything like that. So already his whole premise is wrong. And I hate when they do this. I'm covering the MTV Decoded video where they do a very similar try this Jedi mind trick where they'll say, oh, well, imagine a world without Black History Month. And then they describe a world without black people. It's this sort of bait and switch where they'll say one thing and then describe another and hope you didn't notice just because they're generally still talking about black people. You just have to sort of be so stupid that you lump it all together and don't realize that they're pulling a con job on you intellectually.
Emancipation of the slaves and Reconstruction being met by our old friend Jim Crow. Or how desegregation of schools and public spaces birthed a wave of resegregation in the 80s. Remember the Voting Rights?
Yeah, and you know who is pushing for resegregation right now currently? Black people. You have it going on in colleges where the black people will have their safe spaces and white people won't be allowed. So there's a push towards resegregation, but it's the losers you side with. So, but this time, it's the right thing. I mean, this is where it all gets kind of crazy. So.
Act of 1965. A half century later, we have poll lines so long they disenfranchise those who can't afford to wait.
Oh, and whose fault is that? Again, the Democrats. They're the ones that want everyone voting, whether they're a citizen or not, so that they can establish these voting blocks.
And new laws are excluding countless citizens who have voted their whole lives. So, when we voted against the odds to elect the first black president 8 years ago,
Voted against the odds? Really? Obama basically won in a landslide. There was no against the odds. He was the mainstream candidate, had everyone's support, had people fainting in the streets over him. Like it was reminiscent of the clips of Beatlemania in the 60s. There was no against the odds for Barack Obama. I hate to tell you that. And by the way, if you look into Obama, his mom was CIA. He was sent around to every private privileged school you could imagine. He was raised by a tranny nanny. So everything you see come forth in his presidency makes perfect sense once you understand his background. And he said he was going to be president as a child. He wrote it in concrete outside one of the schools. He said King Obama or whatever. He knew he was going to be leading the world and the American empire. There was no against the odds whatsoever. I call him the born presidency.
we had a clear symbol that the country is literally becoming more black. Why shouldn't we have expected his successor to be?
This is the other thing I don't understand. Okay, so there's black presidents. So now the country is becoming more black? How? Well, I don't understand it. But then again, I don't see the world in this fucking ideological lens where everything boils down to race and racial politics. Oh my god. It's because I don't imagine every white person is harboring resentment towards black people, so it doesn't boggle my mind that they all elected a black president? I mean, what the hell? This is completely ridiculous. Now, I will say there's a large amount of people that I think did vote for him just because he was black. Mainly liberals. I mean, hell, I have a neighbor who gets fucking crazy, has referred to my nieces and nephews as half-breed nigger children, yet he has a poster of Obama in his window facing outward. So you gotta ask, why would the guy referring to a bunch of little kids playing around, calling them half-breed nigger children, have a poster of a half-breed nigger president in his window? Sort of seems a little weird to me, but I think that's just him handling his actual racial issues where he's, oh, well, I can feel like I'm not a racist if I put this picture of this one black guy, like, up in my window. Like, Obama's the token black guy that racist liberals can approve of. Republicans, because they actually have morals and judge people over how productive they are within society and everything. For the most part, I'm not making these blanket statements like it's all that's not how I deal with things. That's not how normal people do. But we're again, judge people on the content of their character. I'd like to push for a new concept, and I'm going to do some videos pushing for this. I want an immediate end of Martin Luther King Day. I have decided it's the best thing for society. We need a removal and an end, not a Black History Month, just Martin Luther King Day. I want it wiped off the calendar because his dream, we are living in the nightmare of it. This is a society that only wants to judge you on your race, on your gender, on your sex, on your whatever. There's no content of your character. We need to end Martin Luther King Day immediately. So, anyway, back to the video.
The meanest, whitest, most vile bigot possible.
Meanest, whitest, whitest, most vile bigot possible. Yeah, Donald Trump is lynching black people in the streets. You didn't see when he comes to town, there are just rows of burning crosses lining the way as his fucking chariot brings him.
The very same guy who demanded to see Obama's birth certificate to prove he was a real American.
Yeah, and the birth certificate was fake. Countless people have said that. And again, God forbid we hold black people up to the same standards as everyone else. We just got to give them a pass.
And when protesters demanded that Black Lives Matter, why shouldn't we have anticipated the rise of a candidate who encourages violence against peaceful demonstrators? President Trump would fit right in.
Going, really seems peaceful. I mean, have you seen these loons? And he doesn't encourage violence. Have you ever been to a rock concert? I've been touring in rock bands. If you show up to a show and you stand up front and you say, "Hey, this band sucks," you're gonna get knocked out. Sorry, that's what happens. You don't show up to someone's event disrespecting you. I mean, how would this douchebag feel if I showed up at his, lecture or whatever the hell he does, and I'm just like, straight white men matter, straight white men matter. I mean, I can only imagine what the unruly mob would turn into. You don't have Trump supporters shutting down anyone else's rallies or trying to silence anyone else, and everyone's aware of that, and that's why he's picking up traction.
Into American history. And, like Presidents Jefferson, Jackson, FDR, Reagan, Clinton, and yes, even Obama, President Trump will continue our American tradition of leaders who expand the empire through the suffering of people of color.
Yeah, because all of those presidents had slaves. You didn't know that? Bill Clinton had slaves. I'm pretty sure of it. So did Reagan. Yeah, you didn't know there's a cotton plantation behind the White House? I mean, I would really love for him to actually break it down to me, who's benefiting from the suffering of black people? Oh, the companies that get subsidized money through the welfare program. Yeah, that's it. Who votes for that? Liberals. Oh, So, yeah, Obama benefited from the suffering of black people, him and all of his buddies. Oh, Bill Clinton. Again, so who wants this whole giant welfare state? Oh, the liberal Democrats. Oh, yeah, LBJ set it up as a plan to destroy black people. But if you say you're against welfare, doesn't that make you racist? So, how do you ever stop the suffering of black people if it's racist to talk about stopping it? Seems like quite a conundrum we have here.
I'm waiting for the year 2043, when this white supremacist nation becomes mostly non-white. That's when true political revolution might be possible.
Oh, so you need to wait for all of your enemies to die in order... I'll tell you what that should really show you? You have real shitty ideas. That's what it is. It's not a minority of people in terms of skin color or anything like that. It's a minority of bad ideas. You're basically saying, well, we need to wait for all the smart people to die out so that we can then have our way. I mean, it's obvious when you combine this with another article I pulled to do a video on, saying that reading your children bedtime stories is racist because it gives a disadvantage to the children who have parents that can't read to them and everything like that. So, I mean, you basically, once you see this social justice thing in its totality and encompass everything that they are trying to say is bad and everything, you basically realize their aim is for a society of spineless jellyfish that just sit in front of the TV eating microwave dinners all day, reciting whatever the latest talking point is. So, and I mean, this guy is fucking ridiculous, and I don't know how people who come out in this fucking pseudo-intellectual, neuro-linguistic programming talk and just being like, yes, once we eliminate once all of the white people are gone and the brown people have taken over America, then we can actually have our political revolution. What's your revolution gonna look like? What is it? I mean, what does it entail? I'm sick of all this warm, fuzzy talk that means nothing, because that's all it is.
But till then, in its final 27 years, some of the dying white majority are so desperate to hold on to their dwindling power, it'll come as no surprise when they fall.
Power over what? See, this is the other thing. Power is the vaguest fuzzy term that could ever be brought up into all this, and it gets me all fucking, my brain gets confused trying to wrap my head around this. Power over what? Power to do what sort of power? Can we get any smidgen of a detail about any of this? No, never. Oh, you have power. I wish I had superpowers. I mean, the only superpower I see anyone with is liberals having this fucking Professor X. Oh, this guy did this. I know it's because he's racist. I mean, it's this fucking liberal mind reading, Jedi mind trick power they all try to exude.
Follow history's pattern and elect a reactionary, racist, sexist man.
Oh, a reactionary, racist, sexist man. Yeah, because Donald Trump is one of the few golf course owners that allows minorities on his court, or his course. His spokeswoman is a black woman. He has tons of black supporters. I don't know, and this is the other thing where, when he goes through and he's like, oh, civil rights, Jim Crow, the implication is that he has an issue against black people, and I'd like to know what evidence whatsoever there is of that at all. I mean, anything he said that's been misconstrued as racist, you look at the actual content. We need an immediate halt of Syrian refugees coming into, America until we can properly vet them. Okay, that's what I mean, is Syrian a race? I thought it was a country. I thought it was a country having a civil war. This all seems practical. We put the Japanese in internment camps when we were at war with them. He doesn't want them to come in. When they come in, where do they stay? Oh, in internment camps. So the guy who doesn't want people in internment camps is the evil racist who's like Hitler. Oh, he's sexist. Well, how did that come about? Oh, well, he said a mean thing about Rosie O'Donnell. Well, maybe Rosie O'Donnell's a mean cunt, and maybe she deserved someone pushing back a little. I mean, baseless claims. But this guy, see, here's where the real problem is. This guy takes these baseless claims and goes, ha, here's my opportunity to celebrate the end of white people. I can come out and make this intellectual argument that history dictates that this is going to happen. But don't worry, guys, because the white people are dying. Yes! I mean, oh my god, this guy I sent to the re-education camp under the Jamie Starr dictatorship. And at this rate, I mean, I'll tell you what, you keep having people like this guy come out. You keep having things like the give Captain America a boyfriend, and you will have a dictator rise out of this stuff. I'd love to be it, but I mean, that's besides the point. It'd be me, and I would take on Milo Yiannopoulos as my vice dictator, and we would just put our foot down on all of this. Someone's going to. This stuff, because he does have a point. Every reaction has an equal but opposite reaction. So you want to start taking all the straight culture and making it gay. You want to start, promoting the death of Western civilization and everything like that. You're going to end up with a kickback. And it's not going to be pretty because you have a society that's had more freedoms and more luxuries and everything like that than anywhere else. And you are trying to take that and siphon it off from them. And the kickback is going to be very ugly. I mean, I wish it could not happen, but it's every action has an equal but opposite reaction.
And that's why a Trump presidency would be as historically American as the bald eagle, indigenous genocide, the Three-Fifths Clause, mass incarceration, and apple pie.
This Donald Trump thing, it's not all about you. They've been saying it about American elections for at least 50 years, but this year it's truer than ever. The world is watching, and we really are.
Oh my god. Alright, well, that was that douchebag from The Guardian fucking getting his fucking panties all wet over the end of white people and my comments on it. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope people, as I don't want to encourage harassment, But I encourage people to contact him on Twitter and let him know what you think about what he has to say, because points that fucking seem to escape his mind are the fact that white people were a pinnacle part of ending slavery, of electing Barack Obama, of ending segregation. Like, it wasn't that black people just got fed up and rebelled and accomplished these things on their own, and white people were so angry and resentful about. No, white people were right alongside them, saying we have to end this, and it was all going on at the hands of government, not an angry mob of people. And these people fail to understand that because they are an angry mob. The social justice warriors are an angry mob, and they've actually accomplished a handful of things. So now they have this idea in their head, because they're fighting against the idea of a white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchist, sexist, blah, 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 blah. That's how all of this was accomplished, through angry mobs and pitchforks, and, because they see the photos of marches and Martin Luther King, so they have a very distorted view of history in their fucking warped little heads and everything. So, hope everyone enjoyed. Check the links below for my other endeavors, and have a good one.